Hey, it's Dustin, and today I'm going to talk about whether freelance writers can get into writer's blocks and how to overcome a writer's block if you find one. Basically, the short answer is yes, freelance writers can get into writer's blocks, or even worse, you might find yourself in like a long-term slump if your writer's block goes for like multiple days or weeks. I would call that like a slump almost. I feel like there's kind of two different kinds of writer's blocks that you can get. So you can have like a creative writer's block, or you can have like just a motivation writer's block. So I would say the creative writer's block, that's more common if you're writing fiction, and the motivation one, it's just if you can't force yourself to do it, which is more common for like freelance writers. The big advice that I would give you if you do find yourself having writer's block or in any kind of slump, or you're just feeling burnt out, is just to take a break, either entirely, or you can just write other things, like stop working on a particular project for like an afternoon or a day or whatever. Just take some time off of it. So I find it's good if you have multiple different kinds of projects on the go so that you're not always writing about the same thing. So try mixing it up. I find like if I try and write 20 articles on one topic in a row, by the end I'm so bored that I can't continue doing it anymore. One thing that you can do that I find helps is exercise. Just get your blood pumping. So I'll go take my dog for a walk or something, and then I'll feel like 10 times better when I sit back down, and then I can write some more, just to kind of mix your day up. Get up and like, even if you just get up and do some jumping jacks or something to get yourself going. You could talk to a friend or a family member about it. Sometimes just ranting about it or having somebody listen to the fact that you're in some kind of a slump or having writer's block helps, I find. If you're doing creative writing, it can help to get inspired. So take some time off, watch a movie or play some video games or something to kind of get those creative juices flowing. You can get some inspiration. It might seem like you're just slacking off, and if you do it all the time, it could be, but if you just kind of do it to break up your writer's block, that could be one way to go about it too. And those are mostly, so like the video games and the movies and stuff, that's mostly if you're having a creative writer's block. And if it's a motivation thing, I would say set goals for yourself is the big thing, and getting into a schedule or a routine. So try and write at the same time every day, and try and set like a word count for yourself or something, even if it's like 500 words, or just say that you'll write like half a chapter or something if you're doing creative writing. It's also good to have a dedicated writing spot. It's weird, but it gets your mind into that writing mode. So when you sit down in a specific spot, you know, like this is the writing spot, this is where I do my writing. So I find that helps too, versus if you're like, you just grab your laptop and sometimes you're on the couch or sometimes you're on bed. I would just like, even if it's just your kitchen table or something, have one place that you sit down that you'll always write at. Whether you're having a creative or a motivational writer's block, you want to avoid distractions. That's a big thing. It can sap your time and really hurt your productivity. That's not even necessarily writer's block, it's just like motivation stuff, but like avoid stuff like opening a web browser and clicking through to websites, or checking your text messages or your Facebook messages. When you sit down and write, just focus on writing. If you have multiple writing assignments to do, I find like if you try and work your way through, your motivation weans towards the end. So I try and do the hard things first. So pick like the longest article or the one that you're the least interested in. Try and knock that out, get it out of the way early on, so then all the like least appealing stuff is done, and then it's easier from there. I find that helps me. I always find if I leave the worst project to last, I always regret it, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. Making outlines helps. So before you even sit down to write, if you're like me, you usually kind of chunk things out. So you'll do all of your research for all of your articles in like one sitting, and then you'll write them in another sitting. So doing all your research and having it done up front, and then make an outline. So make different headers so that you know approximately what you want to write about for a particular article or blog post or something that helps. Then you basically have like a prompt almost for each heading, and you just have to write maybe like 200 or 300 words for each heading, as opposed to sitting down and you just have you have to write 2,000 words on a topic, but you don't know where to start. So having the outline done in advance is good, and then chunk it into little sections using headers. That's some of the things that I use to deal with writer's block. So if you find this helpful, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to have more writing tips coming up in the future for both freelance writers and if you're writing fiction or anything else. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you next time.